You will never need to use AI to create content ideas ever again after watching this video. And it's not because AI is incapable of making decent content ideas. The content ideation is actually miles better than the content scripting, but rather the content ideas that you come up with that are congruent with the things that you genuinely enjoy are far more magnetic than outsourcing thinking to AI completely. AI should be used to synthesize what you already know, what you've been through, what you love learning about, and what you're interested in. Not to randomly go and pick ideas out of the entire database of the internet, because most ideas are terrible, so you have a really high chance of creating something fucking terrible. I personally have helped my clients make a lot of money from their content without needing to use AI for content ideation. And in this video, I will explain 3 underrated and simple ideas to help you come up with more magnetic content ideas so people want to get closer to you and eventually buy from you. Tip number 1. Look at niches and industries outside of the one you are in for inspiration. Some of my favorite analogies for marketing have come from things that have nothing to do with marketing. My most memorable is a SpongeBob analogy, the episode where he has a cook-off against Neptune. Neptune makes thousands of patties, SpongeBob makes one but takes his time. Neptune's tastes terrible, even though people seem impressed with it at first, and SpongeBob's is the greatest thing he's ever tasted. I use that to paint the picture of what AI is like. If you use the Neptune approach with AI, create thousands of ideas, thousands of scripts, ship as quickly as you can and execute as much as possible with this endless amount of information and execution AI gives you, it's probably not going to be very good unless you have some level of mastery or understanding as to what makes good quality in the first place. If you're like SpongeBob, on the other hand, you love doing what you do, you've developed mastery, and you understand what it takes to make great Krabby Patties, you have the choice. Do you want to scale up and use AI to become that much faster and that much more competent, or do you want to stay at the level you're currently at? In that episode, SpongeBob gets to decide whether he wants to go to Atlantis or not, and he actually gets Neptune to come to the Krusty Krab and work for Mr. Krabs instead. The more skill you have and the deeper your levels of awareness and understanding around your industry, the more options you get and the more people will actually want to hire you. Another great analogy I've used is from the NBA. I used to be such a big basketball fan and I watched it religiously for years. It created another great AI analogy for me. The Warriors were decimating teams in the mid to late 2010s with their small ball lineups. So much so that teams thought big men were going extinct. I saw so many articles from Bleacher Report, ESPN. Are big men dead? Are they not going to be in the future of the NBA? People were freaking out. Everybody was trying to copy their blueprint and create a small ball lineup to combat what the Warriors were doing. This is how you beat them, by playing their game. But that couldn't have been further from the truth. What ended up emerging after that was big men who were extremely skilled. Think Jokic, Wemby, Embiid, Giannis. The big men that went extinct were the ones who couldn't keep up with the Warriors in any aspect. If they weren't shooting threes, that meant the math was in the Warriors' favor. If they couldn't defend on the perimeter, that meant the Warriors had the upper hand because they were quicker and could get to different places on the court much faster. And if they couldn't defend at the rim, well, then they were completely toast. It didn't matter if they could rebound well or score around the rim. Greg Monroe literally signed a massive contract for the Bucks in 2015, became useless overnight because that's when the Warriors went Super Saiyan. The big men who became so valuable, Wemby, Jokic, and Embiid, were extremely skilled offensively, could shoot threes. Jokic might be the best passer ever, or in case of Wemby and Embiid, are such great defenders that they could stay on the court for long periods of time to actually use size to their advantage. The lesson from this analogy is that wherever there is innovation, it leaves gaps for you to take advantage of if you're willing to play your own game. When everybody's rushing to AI and how much information and execution it helps accelerate, that leaves real opportunities for humanity, for you to connect to your audience in a genuine way, for you to show the depth of your mastery, because most people using AI have no idea how to tell whether the quality is even good. One of my favorite YouTubers uses analogies from other industries to make excellent marketing points. Her name's Erica Mallet, and she talks a lot about building a category of one. How do you create content so unique that you have no competitors? And her best videos, in my opinion, involve things that don't talk about marketing at all. One of her best videos was about why nobody has a unique personality anymore, and in her argument, she talked about the panopticon. The panopticon is a concept for a jail in which you have a guard tower in the middle, and the jail is built around it so that the guards can always see into the inmates' cells. Now, they obviously can't see all of them all the time because when you turn around, you don't have eyes at the back of your head, but the concept of you could be watched at any moment in time drove the inmates crazy. And that relates to nobody having a personality now because everybody's afraid of somebody whipping their phone out, filming them, and putting it on the internet. So they're not willing to be themselves. They're not willing to let loose and do something outlandish or really have fun or really be seen or really be themselves because they don't want to be put on the internet and get made fun of. Excellent video. Radically shifted my perspective on marketing, human psychology, and behavior in 8 minutes. Another amazing video she made is about the Pepsi paradox, how having a better product can actually work against you. Pepsi's biggest edge in the 80s was that their product tasted better than Coke's. They had run tons of Coke Pepsi taste tests to prove this. They gave people 2 glasses, one with each beverage in them, and 70% of the time, people selected Pepsi as the better tasting product. However, when people could tell which beverage was which, and they weren't doing a blind taste test, whether they saw on the can or the cups were labeled, they picked Coke more often than not. And that has everything to do with brand recognition, which is way more important to growing a business than the actual taste of the drink itself. So ask yourself what things you're interested in that have nothing to do with your industry, because there could be so many valuable insights, lessons, and golden nuggets from those things that are seemingly unrelated that make your points hit so much harder when you use them in tandem. One of my biggest inspirations right now is Emperor Lemon. His video essays are incredible. I find myself watching videos on topics I didn't think I cared about before. I watched an entire 30-minute documentary on Mount Everest and the people who tried to climb it in the 1920s. If you asked me that a day before I watched the video, if I cared, I probably would have said no. But it helped get the gears moving in such a different way because I'm not doing what every single marketer on the planet is doing, watching the biggest names in the industry, obsessing over their competitors, and trying to figure out why what they do works. Translation, sound exactly like them in hopes that people think you're better at being Dan Martell than Dan Martell is. Standing out with your content is all about being willing to put your neck out there and be seen by people. And you can't be seen by people if you're not willing to bring your own unique analogies, viewpoints, and desires and interests out to the world. So spend time pursuing your interests because there are a lot of really cool connections you don't even know exist right now until you're willing to look there without needing it to be about marketing or business. Tip number 2. Spend time alone in stillness. I've been meditating every day for 750 plus days in a row. I can't even remember what day it is right now at the time of this filming. And a huge benefit of me doing this is that it's so much easier to feel creative when I'm not constantly distracting myself with my computer or my phone or social media. I had a really freaky thought the other day. Is the younger generation coming up even going to know what a shower thought is? You know, the best ideas in the world that just drop in your head when you're in the shower? Because so many people now are either listening to music, using their phone in the shower, having a shower beer, which always seemed weird to me, or doing whatever it is they possibly can to ensure they numb themselves at every point during the day, even in the shower. The lovely thing about how our minds work is that when you give it space, it has the ability to connect points that you might not have realized before. Your creative machine can't work if it's always being stuffed full of inputs. You can't build muscle if all you're doing is going to the gym. If you're in the gym 12 hours a day, every day, you're probably gonna get a really bad disease. And it might be scabies from sweating on all the machines for 12 hours every day. How can you possibly expect yourself to be creative and craft unique angles or have interesting thoughts if all you're doing is feeding your mind? It needs downtime. It needs time to think, to rest, to not do anything. It's a really underrated aspect of burnout because a lot of people think, oh, I'm doing too much. Oh, I need to do less. You also need to consume less. So go on walks without your phone. I go on walks every day, leaving my phone at home. I sit and meditate every single day. I do breath work every single day. I have periods of time where I do nothing and I stare at the ceiling. I stare at the wall. I leave my phone in another room and lay on the couch. Just like your muscles need rest to actually grow, this is how your mind develops the muscle of being creative in your own unique way. And tip number 3, when you are spending time doing research or looking at your industry or your competitors, make sure you do one of 2 things. You're either taking a hard stance against the takes you strongly disagree with, or you're finding the things you resonate with and making them your own or taking them a step further. Let's tackle the first part of this. A big take I disagree with is to find the most viewed videos in your niche, throw them into ChatGPT after you get the transcripts and ask it to make you a template, and you're psychologically hacking your audience's mind. No, you're not. You sound like a fucking idiot because you're doing what everybody else is doing. If ChatGPT is a language learning model that looks at everything it can find and finds common patterns to create scripts with, if everybody just keeps going into that pool to make scripts, everybody's shit is gonna sound the same. I call it the content pyramid scheme because the same way that you hope you enter a pyramid scheme early so you can reap all the rewards and get some other sucker to think he's gonna recruit 6 people when really he needs like 1 trillion people at that point in time because there are so many people ahead of him to even make $10. That's how this strategy works. You need to hope that you're in it early enough so that people actually think what you're saying is interesting. Everybody afterwards is gonna think you sound like everyone else. So I take a hard stance against that. I throw rocks against that as much as I can. The second part of this tip, though, is to find things you resonate with and take them a step further. So for example, I love Caleb Rawlson's stuff. It's so good. And one of the things he talks about is not optimizing for views, but optimizing for trust. And that's so amazing. I wish I came up with that. But to take it one step further and to find the gaps in that piece of advice, much like the Warriors analogy I said earlier, how do you optimize for trust? That's why I tell people to optimize for depth. Depth in the connection you're building with your audience. Depth in the beliefs that you're shifting for them. Depth in the proof that you're providing them with. It's not just about understanding what you should tell people. It's about understanding where they're at and what's really gonna move the needle for them in a big way. Optimizing for depth will literally transform your business in every possible metric. Don't just look at what people say they want or what they think they want. Understand why they want it and what their deepest level of pain is, or their highest level of desired pleasure. Why does this mean something to them? What is it really about? How do you connect with them more on a deep human level, more than I provide a service that helps solve a problem for you? How do you get them to buy into who you are? How do you get them to buy into your energetic state, into your frequency? Those are the kinds of things that make diehard fans. Those are the kinds of things that make it easy for somebody to sign up for your program without needing sales calls. Because as much as there's terrible advice on the internet, there's also good advice. So find the advice you resonate with. Find the advice that you look at and go, yeah, that's really good. I really like that. And take it one step further. Make it your own. For this specific angle in this specific video, I want you to make a list of all the things you agree with and how can you provide your own spin on it? How can you make it more uniquely yours? How can you take it one step further or provide a different angle on it in order to make it uniquely you? That's what helps you stand out. That's what helps you craft unique ideas. And you only get paid based on the quality of your ideas. If you don't understand that, your content won't hit as much as you want. Your offer won't hit as much as you want. And people won't connect with you as much as you want. That's it for me today, though. That's today's video. If you guys want to check out even more videos on how I can help you create valuable content, unique ideas, and do the right inner work so that you can get in the appropriate energetic state to attract dream clients, there will be another video for you here somewhere on the screen, and you can click it and dive deep there. Peace.